Hey everybody, it's Chase with AV Pop Culture again, and today we are here to take a look at what I consider to be the top 10 absolutely must-own 4Ks, whether you are just starting a collection or whether you are a seasoned collector or if you're just a movie fan. These are the movies that everyone must own on 4K. We're going to get to it, so pop that tape in. I got you. Let's go do this. All right, so the absolute must own, these are the staples. Start here, unquestioned. These cannot be argued. The iconic nature of these films, the quality of the 4Ks. If you could only buy 10, and spoiler alert, I actually have 12 in here. Because I couldn't cut them because these movies are so iconic. You're going to get a couple of honorable mentions in here before the actual 10 list starts. But these are films that you absolutely must own. If you don't have these, you're not a, you're not a seasoned collector, because most seasoned collectors should have these in their collection. If you're just a movie fan, these are absolute must-owns. We're going to get to it, jumping right in. I do kind of have them ranked, but it doesn't really matter. You need to have all of these in your list. And I'm going to start out with my first of the sort of honorable mentions, and that's Predator. And this is actually maybe my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. This is a very underrated 4K. The quality here is great. This is an iconic movie, absolutely iconic film. Really is a horror film, but it's a horror sci-fi. You could argue it's a slasher. 100% must own. There is not anybody out there that hasn't at least seen the iconic handshake arm wrestle scene. Predator has spawned so many sequels. The monster is iconic. The characters in this are iconic. It's a great looking 4K. You have to mention it. I absolutely could not cut it out. It's one of those that just has to be mentioned. And Predator comes in, might as well say at 12 on this top 10 list. Next up on the list is another one that I feel like is in that category. I absolutely had to mention this one. And it's like I'm sitting here and it's just like it's like I'm sweating back and forth on which ones to put. So all these are on the list. But you cannot have this list when you're talking about iconic characters, great 4Ks, all of that, without talking about Rambo, First Blood. This is an amazing 4K. This steelbook is absolutely great. This character, I mean, the acting in this, I mean, the scene at the end when Rambo breaks down in the police station, I mean, Stallone takes his acting to another level in this film. Of course, you have Richard Crenna in here as Colonel Troutman. And I don't know, this movie, I've seen this movie so many times. It's a sneaky, like, alternative Christmas movie because it takes place there. You can't have a collection that doesn't involve Rambo. And First Blood is a must. That's the place to start. Great 4K. Rambo, First Blood. Gotta have it. Absolutely gotta have it. Now in the top 10, I don't think I'm going to get any argument on any of these. It doesn't matter what kind of movie fan you are, whether you like comedy, action, drama, adventure. It really doesn't matter. These films are so iconic and their 4Ks are so great. So coming in next is Alien. This is an absolute great 4K. This movie did things that we had not seen up until that point. Sigourney Weaver, obviously amazing in this movie. Just a great movie. Now, I mean, I go back and forth whether I like Alien or Aliens better. But this one is the one that started all the chest burster scene. We hadn't really seen anything like that. You weren't expecting it. It is a oh shit moment in the movie. And this is just an absolute must-own 4K. You have to have Alien in your collection. The 4K is really good here. but the movie is just absolutely icon. All of these are like icons upon icons here. But when you're talking sci-fi horror, in space, no one can hear you scream. Alien, you got to have it. I mean, you need aliens as well. But Alien, if you can only get one, start here. That's the whole point. And it comes in at number 10. At number 9 is it's probably my favorite Kubrick film. I mean, there's just no way around it. Stephen King and Kubrick together. I'm talking, of course, about The Shining. This 4K, I've talked about this 4K and the lenses which Kubrick shot with, how he framed scenes. It's almost like he shot this knowing that 4K would someday exist and we would be able to see movies in that kind of vein, in that kind of quality at home. Now Stephen King doesn't like this movie. Stephen King is wrong, period. He may be a little jealous that the movie is so good. But this movie is absolutely iconic. This 4K is, I mean, I'm going to run out of adjectives, guys and ladies, but in that for someone who is a writer, that is very difficult to do. But The Shining, absolutely incredible, tailor-made for 4K, an iconic film, a absolutely crazy performance by Jack Nicholson in here. You got to have it. Run, get The Shining. Just reference quality 4K. All right. Next up on the list, this would be 10-9. At 8 is The Karate Kid. Now, I grabbed this one. A lot of people out there have the three box set, and that's fine because you need all of these movies. But they re-released with this VHS style cover, and they added Dolby Vision to it, which took a 9.999 level 4K to a 10. And there is no denying the iconic nature of The Karate Kid. 40 years later, it's still spawning a hit TV show, Cobra Kai, because of the original people involved. And this 4K, I mean, especially when you watch some of the scenes where they're out at the beach, where it's nighttime at the beach, where the actual tournament goes down, the All Valley tournament, the 4K just stands out. It is that good. And of course, there is nobody in the world just about that owns a television or ever has that hasn't heard the phrase wax on, wax off, even if they don't know where it comes from. The movie is just so ubiquitous throughout our culture. It's part of the public zeitgeist. It is just one of those movies that you should own. And when you have a 4K that is this good, it is an absolute staple. It is a must own. You have to have The Karate Kid in your collection. So it comes in at number 8. I think that's 8. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Yeah, that's 8. All right, coming in at number 7, I picked one film to represent this franchise because I really think you need them all, but you do have to start somewhere. And all of these are great, but I'm going to start with Halloween, the first Halloween. Now, I have the big black box release here from Screen Factory, and this is a absolutely stellar 4K. All of these are. Halloween 3 might be the best looking one out of them, and I highly recommend you get them all with these franchises like this that are absolutely iconic. But if you can only get one and you got to start somewhere, you got to start at the beginning. You got to start with the one that started them all, and you got to grab Halloween. I mean, did it start the slasher genre? No, there was stuff that came before, but it put it on a level and changed things in a way that is still absolutely iconic today. I mean, this film and this character is, I mean, it's absolutely iconic. I don't even think it's Carpenter's best film, though, but it might be his most iconic. And then you get a 4K that is this good, and they're all good. And I really do think 3 is probably the best. So, I mean, get them all if you can. But as a background, a staple, a building of a collection, whether you're a casual fan that just wants to have good movies on hand, or whether you're a collector, Halloween is a must, and this 4K is a good place to start with that. Collect them all because you need them. You need them all. You don't necessarily have to have this big black box with the vinyl record and all that, but get Halloween. All right, next up on our list is one that I think might actually be Carpenter's best film ever, and this is an absolute reference quality 4K. It's one of the best 4Ks in existence, and I am, of course, talking about The Thing. Now, why is it not up higher? Because it's not as iconic of a film, believe it or not, as the ones that we're going to get to in a minute. But if you are trying to build a collection, you can usually get this one on sale. It's a studio release. You can get this thing on sale a lot of times for $10. For $10, you should be wearing a ski mask and you know, just you're robbing them. You're robbing them when it comes to getting the thing on 4K. Now, the movie was a flop when it came out, and it cost Carpenter a job. But it is an absolutely iconic film. You have Kurt Russell, that is one of my favorite all-time actors. And this 4K, it literally is reference quality. And it doesn't even have, like, Dolby Vision in it. It doesn't even matter. It is that good. The vibes just suck you in, pull you in. There's so much atmosphere. The practical effects are simply amazing in this, and they still hold up today. You have to check this one out. Where's my hat here? You have to check this one out. This has to be in your collection. And at $10, quite often for $10, no reason for it not to be in anyone's collection. Yes, it's a little horror. It's a little sci-fi, all that. You don't have to love either one of those to enjoy this movie. Absolutely get The Thing. It is a must. It is a staple. This is a little gift aftermarket slipcover that I have here for it. All right, we are now to our top 5, and these are icons of icons when it comes to iconic films. And coming in at number 5 is Ghostbusters. You absolutely have to have Ghostbusters. The comedy classic. I mean, this movie is a classic. Again, they're still making movies of this 40 years later. And they're bringing back the original cast, because those characters are that iconic. To stand that test of time, no matter whether you like those movies or not, for those movies to still be making in excess of $200 million 40 years later, bringing those iconic characters back, and people actually wanting more of those iconic characters and less of the new characters. This film has been one of my favorites. I saw this at the movie. I was definitely the second one, but I was taken to see the first one at the movie theater. I was just a little kid. You got to have these movies. But start with number 1, if that's the only one that you can get. If you can only get one, though, getting this set is pretty easy. You can still get this on like Amazon, and I'll try to leave the links for all that stuff down below. It helps out the channel when you get it. So does subscribing. That helps out the channel a lot, spreads the word. But yeah, this movie, it's an icon of icons. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, this cast, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, Ernie Hudson. You've got Annie Potts. You've got Rick Moranis, Sigourney Weaver. What else do you want? And the 4K, it has some grain and stuff into it. It maybe is not quite to the quality of these others. It doesn't matter. It's a 40-year-old film setting around, and it still looks damn good. It still looks damn good. You have to have this. It's just no brainer. It has to be part of your collection. So Ghostbusters cracks our top 5. Now at number 4 is the first one is just an absolute iconic. I pulled this whole series. The first one coined the term blockbuster. I am a huge Steven Spielberg fan. No matter if you're tired of hearing people talk about Jaws or not, you absolutely have to have Jaws in your collection. And if you can't get them all, the first movie is far superior to the rest. There is no doubt about that. Grab Jaws. The 4K it's reference quality. It's that good. There is nothing that you can nitpick on. I have it in several different ways. I have this standard release here in the Blockbuster box set slip. I have the Studio Canal 4K Steelbook. It's that good, man. And when you're talking about films that you should just own, like for posterity to have, like that's where all of these movies come in, and Jaws is there. It is a quintessential, must-own, iconic film. There is, again, it's hard to find someone that doesn't know that Jaws music, that simple music. The iconic scenes, the Quint telling the story on the boat, which they actually brought in John Milius to write that story. A lot of people don't know that. John Milius wrote that part of the script about the USS Indianapolis sinking and the people getting attacked by sharks. This movie is absolutely iconic. Like I said, it coined the term, popularized the term that we use today, blockbuster. Of course, the making of it is legendary, problematic, everything else. You had Steven Spielberg get put absolutely on the map to be one of the, icons in the Mount Olympus of Hollywood and filmmaking. Steven Spielberg with this film. Jaws is an absolute must-own. I mean, I say grab them all because they're fun. The first one is definitely stands above the rest, and it ain't close. So if you're looking for things that you must own as staples, foundationary stuff, Jaws, you got to have it. Now, coming in at number 3 on the list is a trilogy that you can get really for the price of one 4K usually. And we talk about reference quality, it's really overused. What that means is just it's pristine. There's nothing better that could be done to it. And that is the case with all 3 of the Back to the Future movies. Again, the first one, my favorite still to this day, is the first one. You can usually get this set for $40 or under for these 3 movies, which is crazy to get these 3 on 4K because they are that iconic and that good. They hold up today. Again, you have Spielberg involved here, but you have Robert Zemeckis and, of course, Michael J. Fox in his most iconic role. Y'all, this movie, all 3 of these movies, they're like peanut butter for the soul. That's the way I see it. They're just feel good. They're go-tos. You can put them on in the background. You can watch them with your family. You can watch, there's nothing out of place with them, even though it's kind of, actually, when you think about it, the first one's kind of got some kinky subject matter to it. But these movies are so much fun. They're so iconic. You have to have these movies. You can't build a broad base. I remember when I started playing football and I was really young and my feet grew too fast for the rest of my body. And I was wearing like a size 15 shoe at like 15 years old. And my mom commented to my coach about how big my feet were. And he said, you can't build a big house, a quality house, without a big and quality foundation. That's what these movies are. They are your bedrock. They are your foundation of your collection, whether you are a seasoned pro collector, that's what you consider yourself, movie connoisseur, cinephile, or you are a casual fan who just loves movies to pop one in every now and then. These are the ones that everyone should have to build from. So Back to the Future comes in at number 3 on the list. Staying with that, it's one of my favorite movies all time. I grabbed the whole collection here, but you absolutely, unquestionably have to have Indiana Jones. Now, if you follow me, you know Harrison Ford is my favorite actor of all time. This is going to be one of those times where I tell you different. If you can only get one of these movies, if I could only get one, I'm getting The Last Crusade. But, you got to have all of these at some point. But if you're only starting with one, now, if you've never seen any of them, then sure, you have to start with Raiders. It's the first, it's the icon. But if you've seen them all, and you can only afford to buy one, I'm buying The Last Crusade with Sean Connery as Harrison Ford's father, I mean, that's worth the price of admission in this. They're on the search for the Holy Grail. That is iconic in and of itself. You talk about an iconic character, again, still going on, whether we like those movies or not. And I'm not the biggest fan of the storylines of especially the most recent movie. It doesn't matter. The character is so iconic, so beloved, just that they're still making movies about him 45 years later, 43 years later in the case of the Raiders of the Lost Ark. That is absolutely crazy. That's something that proved itself. It stood the test of time. These are movies that you just should have in your collection one way or the other. Of course, I have them all because I'm a huge Harrison Ford fan, and I have this Blockbuster box set to keep them all in. So I recommend grabbing them all, but if you can only grab one, I mean, you can make your decision, but these are movies are must have, and the 4Ks are absolutely great. There's no complaints on the 4Ks at all, especially the most recent. If you're shooting in digital, you're not going to find digital on here because anything you get digital should be fine. You should be okay with anything digital. It's shot digital 4K and above. If you're looking for just great looking 4Ks, those should all be pretty good for you. But number one, this is probably not going to be a surprise to anyone who follows me, but this set just came out this year, so I would recommend grabbing this as a set, which is kind of cheating. Again, you can still get just one individual, I think. I don't know if you can get them individually or not. But I am, of course, talking about Rocky. This is the definitive set, even though the casing, the packaging is not great, because you're going to get all of the films. You're going to get Rocky, Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 4 that has the theatrical version, but you're also going to get the director's cut that Stallone did here about a year or so ago, Rocky vs. Drago, the ultimate director's cut, which is complete recut new film, right? You're going to get that on 4K. You're going to get the making of Rocky vs. Drago, so you're going to get the documentary of that being done. And you're going to get Rocky 5, and you're going to get Rocky Balboa, but you're going to also get the theatrical version of that and the director's cut of that movie, all on 4K. So you're essentially getting, 5, 6, 7 films? So that is crazy. This is a very, very, very good 4K. All of these, I have watched all of these. So the quality varies a little bit, but man, when you put in Rocky 1 or Rocky 2, it's so strange because it looks so pristine, so good, but it also still retains that aged, gloomy feeling that Rocky has in the movies, deliberately has. If you ever pay attention, especially Rocky 1 and 2, and then 5, when he loses his money, go back and pay attention to those. It's cold, it's gray, it's dreary, it's depressive, because that mimics his life and where he's from and what's happening in the movie. And then if you look at 3 particularly, it's bright and vibrant to start with and everything as he's on top of the world. But it still somehow retains that and that filmic look while looking all new and pristine. So that's a hard needle to thread. And I absolutely love these movies. Rocky is my favorite movie of all time. And again, another absolutely iconic character, a foundational set of movies for you. You absolutely have to have them. I mean, there's a reason Rocky was nominated for 11 Academy Awards, and they're still making, these movies, and spun off and did Creed. And now they're going to do a television show, a prequel, I think, for Rocky. So just absolutely iconic. I mean, these are iconic characters in films here. When you're talking about the character and film of Rocky, or Indiana Jones, or Jaws with Spielberg, or Back to the Future, or the Ghostbusters characters, or Jack Nicholson in The Shining, or Kurt Russell in The Thing. Halloween and Michael Myers and John Carpenter, Schwarzenegger and Predator, all and that character and that monster. I mean, Karate Kid, Sweep the Leg, the crane kick. These are things that are just part of our heritage at this point, because you're talking about stuff that's 30, 40 years old or more. These are things that are just part of the fabric of our lives, as particularly if you're a movie fan at all, but just pop culture in general. You're going to know about these movies, and these are absolute must-owns for anyone at any level. These are your bedrock, staple, foundational films, and they are also great 4Ks. But don't you worry, these should be well known. I have 25 for 25 coming up, 25 films to build and expand your collection, whether you are just starting out or whether you are a seasoned collector of films. I got that video coming. Of course, we do lots of physical media news, rankings, all that kind of stuff here, lists, anything, all of that stuff. If it's movies, we're doing it. It's from a fan and filmmaker's perspective. I've been making films for over 20 years, so I got some experience there. And of course, I've been a fan a whole lot longer than that. So if you enjoy that kind of stuff, please like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Ring the bell so you never miss any videos, because I'm told that happens a lot, people missing stuff. And if you want to help support this channel, you can join below at my Patreon link or right here on YouTube. Get your name in lights, get special access to my videos, behind the scenes of my filmmaking, and so much more. And it really does help out the channel. The same thing when you use the Amazon links below. Anything you go and buy while you're there, you click on those links, that helps out the channel, and I really do appreciate it. I'll try to link any of this stuff so that you can find it and make sure that you have the staples, the bedrock of the best foundation of movies that you can get. But until next time, be kind, rewind like always. This is Chase with AV Pop Culture, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye. Bye now.